Hey guys, I don't know how many of you are comic fans. I'm not, I wouldn't consider myself like a big comic fan. I don't, buy them every week and know the whole history and know who's alive and dead currently and that kind of thing. But I have a friend who is a huge comic nerd, and he kind of got me into reading some of them. And so I just kind of wanted to let you know what I'm reading. And so to let you know that you don't need to know everything to really like some of them. And so I just thought I've been on a Batman kick this past week, and just thought I'd share some of those and let you know that you can pick up just like random volumes, and a lot of them are like standalone kind of deals, and they're really cool, and you might like them if you've never tried comics before. Except everyone should read The Sandman by Neil Gaiman. That was the first comic I ever read, and it's just amazing. But the more traditional, I guess, that everyone knows Batman, right? So I've been reading a bunch of Batman, and I liked all of them. So just in general, I recommend these. If you've never read any comics and they sound interesting, just go try them. You don't really need to know anything. You pick it up as you go along. But the first one I read was Batman Joker's Asylum Volume 2 I think this is the one that has a bunch of different people. Yeah, there are 5 different stories in it, and they're by Landry Quinn Walker, James Patrick, Peter Calloway, Mike Raicht, Kevin Shinick, and then the artists. But in this one, it is kind of hosted by the Joker in the Arkham Asylum, and it's just 5 different stories, one on a different inmate and how they got there or their story or whatever. So there's one about the Mad Hatter, who I didn't even know was a Batman villain. So that was kind of a surprise. And it's about him and his hats and being crazy, basically. But then there's one about Harley Quinn, who I love, and is the Joker's sometime girlfriend, if you didn't know that, and about how she escapes Arkham Asylum on Valentine's Day to find her Mr. J. And then there's one about Clayface, and who I also am not familiar with, but it was kind of a cool story about him going to the movie theater because he used to be an actor or something. So that was interesting. And then there was Croc, the crocodile guy, who I didn't know, again, making me sound like I know nothing at all, who's like this big half man, half crocodile thing. And that was actually a really kind of touching and surprising story, because he turns out to not really be the monster of the story. It's more the people he meets and hangs out with. So that was a really cool one. And then there was one more. Let me see if I can figure out what it is. Oh, the Riddler. The Riddler? I think it was the Riddler. Who I like from Batman Forever. And apparently all comic people hate Batman Forever, and I love that movie. But so it's about the Riddler trying to get the girl, and it starts off kind of sweet and you feel bad for him, and then later, not so much. So those are just like 5 separate stories. You don't need to know anything. They're really kind of fun and interesting, and the Joker hosting the story time is funny, and I like him. So this one was probably my favorite of the ones I read, and this one is by Sam Keith, and it's Arkham Asylum Madness. And this one kind of centers around a nurse who is working at the asylum, and how she just hates her job and everyone there kind of hates it, and she just goes in and it's the creepiest place, and just being there kind of, you feel like it's driving you crazy and you're starting to lose your mind, and strange stuff starts happening. There's a clock that starts bleeding, and you find out a story behind the Joker killing a guard, and other people get killed, and there's kind of little bits and pieces of other inmates. And yeah, it's just kind of messes with your mind. You feel like you can feel them going crazy and everyone being scared working there, and you just try to imagine yourself working at the Arkham Asylum, and it's nuts. It's just really cool. I love this one. And yeah, and it kind of talks about the Joker. He was collecting old gags, like from back in the 30s or 40s, whatever, and how he kind of doesn't escape, but he attacks one of the doctors sneakily, so the doctor doesn't know what's going on, and it's hard to explain. But this one is really good. Go read this one if you read any of them. Very creepy, I'm kind of obsessed with the whole asylum deal, so that's part of it. But The third one is Batman, the Man Who Laughs by Ed Brubaker. And this one surrounds the Joker is, at large, and he keeps naming these high society people that he's going to kill at a certain time. And they don't know how he's doing it, but at that time, the people, their face turns white and they start laughing and then they just keel over dead. So they end up kind of looking like the Joker and just dying. And so they keep trying to stop it, but they don't know how he's doing it. And so then Batman kind of foils his plan in the end. No big surprise there. But turns out that the Joker's plan was far bigger than just killing off these people. So that was a good one, and I liked it. I think I'd read it before, but I forgot, so I just read it again, but good one. I'm trying to hurry through these since there are a bunch. And there's Batman Haunted Gotham by Doug Moench? And this one was way different, because I know, generally, I think Batman's parents were killed when he was young, Bruce Wayne's parents. But in this one, they are still alive in the beginning of the story. Bruce is an adult, and he lives with his parents in, Wayne Manor. But they get killed shortly after the story begins by a werewolf. And it turns out all of Gotham is kind of haunted, and there are demons and werewolves and mad scientists. And no one kind of comes into Gotham, and no one kind of goes out. It's just in its own little world where all this awful stuff's happening. And it turns out Bruce has been raised by his parents. He's been trained in, fighting and all kind of stuff, but he never knew why. And once they die, he finds out that his father wants him to be the Batman, which he had never known about before, and defeat evil. And he has to go after the evil who's trying to take his parents' souls and all the other souls of everyone in Gotham. And so there's mad scientists, there are lots of zombies, there's skeletons and seances and shapeshifters. And it was really different from any of the Batman story I knew, and it was really kind of cool. A little long for me. It was a big one for a comic book or whatever, but it was good. I liked it. Different. So, and then last is Batman Arkham Asylum: A Serious House on Serious Earth, and this one was cool because it was drawn by Dave McKean, who does a bunch of the Sandmans. And so the style I was familiar with. It's just really cool. I love his style. Let's see. What page is that? So, yeah. Basically, it's about Batman and the commissioner or whoever gets a call that the patients have broken loose in Arkham Asylum and have taken over the building and are running things. And so Batman has to go and stop them. And of course the Joker's kind of running the whole thing. And so it all revolves around Batman going there and the Joker really trying to break down his sanity and just drive Batman crazy. And it kind of works, and he kind of does. But throughout that whole story, you also get the story of the opening of Arkham Asylum and the guy, I forgot his first name, something Arkham, who opened it, and his tragic story. It's kind of awful too. And at one point, the Joker makes Batman play hide and seek. He says you have an hour to hide, or half hour to hide, and then all of your enemies are coming after you. And so you see a little bit of Scarecrow, Mr. Destiny, who I don't know, Black Mask, who I don't know, Clayface, the Joker, Two-Face. The Two-Face in here was really kind of interesting and sad because he'd been kind of broken down in therapy and messed up. And of course the Joker's just always a hoot. And it was really cool. So this one was really creepy, kind of disturbing, but I liked it a lot. And so that's it. So hopefully those sounded cool. If you like kind of creepy things and, different takes on all the characters, or just want to learn some stuff about comics and see what the big deal is, I recommend all those. They were all really good. They're quick reads, they're comics, they're fun, and the Joker's awesome. It's basically the theme that runs through all those. And if you don't like them, you're nuts. So, yeah, let me know what you think. If you are into comics, what do you think about these? If you're not, go try them. If you've tried them, let me know, blah, blah, blah. And I will talk to you guys later. Bye.